A white American man fell deeply in love with a black woman. He married her with a heart full of hope. But when he took her to meet his family at their old farmhouse, everything changed. His family rejected her because of her background. What they did not know was that the farmhouse they were so proud of did not even belong to them. It belonged to the very woman they refused to accept. And when the truth came out, their whole world shook. Alan Brooks never thought his life would take such a sharp and unexpected turn. He was a 33-year-old white man from Nebraska, working as a senior project supervisor at an engineering firm in Chicago. His life was organized, ordered, predictable. He woke up at 6 every morning, brewed the same medium roast coffee, and jogged the same neighborhood loop. Nothing in his routine ever changed, and honestly, he liked it that way. That changed the day he met Maya Carter. It happened on a chilly autumn evening at a small community art fair downtown. Alan had only gone because a coworker insisted he needed a break. He wandered from booth to booth, without much interest until he reached a small stand, decorated with handmade candles, wooden frames, and paintings that felt warm and alive. Behind the stand stood a black woman with soft curls tied in a low bun, wearing a simple olive sweater and jeans. Her smile was gentle but confident. "Hi there. Let me know if you want to smell anything or need help choosing a gift." Alan did not know why, but his heartbeat changed rhythm. He nodded, pretending to look at the candles while stealing glances at her name tag. It said Maya, just Maya. He picked up a candle at random. It smelled like vanilla and cedar. "This one is amazing. Did you make all of these?" Maya laughed softly. "Not all of them, but most of the wooden frames are mine. I restore old pieces and give them a new life. My family has always loved building things." Something about her voice felt grounding. Alan found himself asking questions he normally never asked strangers. "So this is your full-time work?" "And not really. More like something I enjoy. My real work is a bit different." He wanted to ask more, but she changed the subject, pointing at a small painting she had done of a farmhouse under a sunset sky. "That one is special to me. Painted it last year? Took forever." Alan looked closely. The brushstrokes were delicate and careful. The farmhouse looked peaceful, surrounded by tall trees and a golden field. He could almost feel the quiet in the picture. "Did you grow up in a place like this?" he asked. Maya nodded. "Yeah. My grandparents had a property out of town. I spent every summer there. It was my favorite place." That short exchange lit a spark. Alan stayed at the booth for nearly 20 minutes. They talked about art, coffee, work, and even their favorite childhood memories. Everything flowed easily, naturally, without effort. When he finally walked away, he kept looking back. He had never felt something bloom so quickly. Before leaving the fair, he found the courage to return to her booth. "Hi, so, would you maybe want to grab coffee sometime?" Maya raised her eyebrows with a teasing smile. "Coffee? That depends. Are you one of those people who drinks black coffee with no sugar?" Alan laughed. "No, I am normal. I promise." She smiled again. "All right, coffee sounds nice." He saved her number in his phone. Maya C. That night, for the first time in years, he felt excited about something new. Alan did not know it yet. But this simple meeting at a small art fair would grow into a love story that would challenge everything he had ever known about family, acceptance, and the true meaning of belonging. Alan and Maya met for coffee the next Saturday at a small corner shop near the river. It was quiet, warm, and filled with the smell of cinnamon. Maya arrived wearing a simple tan coat and a navy scarf, her hair down this time. Alan noticed how she carried herself. Calm, confident, not trying to impress anyone. "So, tell me something interesting about you," Maya said as they sat down. Alan smiled. "Interesting might be a strong word. I am pretty normal. I like structure. I like schedules. I like things that make sense." She stirred her latte. "That sounds logical, but a little boring." Alan laughed. "I know. And you? What is something interesting about you?" Maya tilted her head. "Well, my life is a bit more flexible than yours. I do restoration work and creative stuff, but I also manage a few small businesses my grandparents left behind. Nothing complicated. Just work I enjoy." He nodded without thinking much of it. "That is cool. What kind of businesses?" "Small ones. Local rentals. Community projects." She changed the subject quickly. "And what about your family? Are they in Chicago?" Alan paused. He was close to his family, but he knew they were traditional. Old-fashioned, set in their ways. Most of them are in Nebraska. My parents, my older brother, his wife, they are good people, but a little conservative. They like things a certain way. Maya smiled kindly. That sounds familiar. My family used to be the same, but life changes people. They talked for hours. It surprised Alan how natural it felt. Their conversations did not feel forced or heavy. She made him laugh. He made her think. She had a gentle humor that softened even tough topics, and he had a quiet sincerity that made her feel safe. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. They tried new restaurants, explored old bookstores, cooked dinner together, and spent late nights watching documentaries and talking about the world. Alan found himself doing things he never thought he would enjoy. Gardening, candle making, visiting small antique shops. Maya found comfort in his steady nature, his ability to listen without judgment, and the way he treated her with respect. One evening, while they were walking along the lake shore, Alan stopped her. I wanted to say something, he said, trying hard not to sound nervous. Maya looked at him, waiting. I think I am falling for you. Her expression softened. She did not step back or hesitate. Good, she said. Because I have been feeling the same way. That night, their relationship took a deeper turn. They became partners, not just two people dating. Everyday routines shifted. Coffee together, plans together, dreams together. Almost a year passed before Alan made the decision. He proposed to her at the art fair where they first met. He placed a simple ring on her finger and told her she made his life brighter. Maya said yes with no fear. They married quietly at a courthouse. Only a few friends attended. They planned to meet family later after settling into married life. But Alan knew something was coming. Something heavy. Something he hoped would not ruin what they had built. Because his family had never met a black woman as part of the family. And even in the United States, even in modern times, old mindsets still lived inside quiet living rooms and family traditions. Still, Alan believed love could overcome it. He hoped his family would see what he saw in Maya. A good person. A kind woman. Someone he wanted to spend his life with. When Maya suggested visiting his family farm in Nebraska, Alan agreed. He wanted his family to welcome her. He wanted them to see the woman he loved. But he did not know how unprepared they were. And he did not know how powerful Maya really was, in ways his family could never imagine. Their journey toward Nebraska began with hope. But what waited for them at the farmhouse would test everything they believed about love, family, and respect. The drive from Chicago to rural Nebraska took almost 8 hours. They left early in the morning, watching the city fade behind them as open fields stretched out across the horizon. Maya sat comfortably in the passenger seat, legs folded, sipping iced tea and humming softly to the music. Alan kept glancing at her. Are you sure you are ready for this? She smiled. I am not nervous, if that is what you mean. I know my family. They are not unkind, he said carefully. Just traditional. They have strong opinions about how things should be. Maya nodded. I understand, and I am not expecting perfect behavior from anyone. I just want to meet the people who raised the man I married. Her calmness relaxed him, but not completely. He knew his family loved him. He also knew they had never imagined him marrying outside their race, especially marrying someone they knew nothing about. By the time they reached the town near his family home, the sun was beginning to set. The old farmhouse stood at the edge of a wide field, tall white fences surrounding it. Alan had grown up here, helping his father with horses and feeding chickens in the morning. He had loved this place once. As the car entered the long gravel driveway, Alan felt the old pressure in his chest. He saw his mother on the porch, hands folded, staring at the car. His father stepped out moments later, wiping his hands on a towel as if preparing for something serious. Maya reached over and squeezed Alan's hand. We are here, she said softly. They stepped out of the car. Alan hugged his parents first. His mother hugged him back, but stiffened when she turned toward Maya, his. Father nodded politely, but kept a certain distance. His brother Jacob came out next. His expression was blank, unreadable. This is my wife Maya, Alan said. Maya smiled warmly and extended her hand. It is good to meet all of you. There was a small silence. Just a few seconds, but it said much more than words. His mother finally shook her hand, but only lightly. His father gave a hesitant nod. Jacob muttered a quiet hello. They all went inside the house. The air felt tight. The energy was off. No one said anything directly, but the discomfort floated between them like fog. They sat at the dining table, and Alan's mother served dinner with slow, cautious movements. She watched Maya carefully, as if trying to read something hidden in her. "So Maya, what do you do for work?" she asked, tone polite but tense. "I do restoration, and I manage some properties." "Properties?" Jacob asked. "Like apartments?" "Something like that." His mother exchanged a look with his father. A silent question, a silent judgment. None of it escaped Maya. After dinner, Alan and Maya stepped outside for a walk under the cool evening sky. Alan rubbed the back of his neck. "I am sorry. They are acting weird." Maya took a deep breath. "I know they are trying, but they are not ready to accept me yet. It is okay. I am not here to fight. I am here to show them who I am." Alan looked at her with admiration. She always knew how to remain steady, even when surrounded by doubt. The next morning, however, everything changed. A comment, an argument, a push too far. The moment that revealed how deep the prejudice ran, and the moment that would lead them to discover the truth that would turn the entire farmhouse story upside down. The next morning began earlier than expected. The sun had barely risen when Alan heard voices outside the guest room. Not soft voices, sharp ones. His mother and father were already in a heated discussion. Alan sat up and rubbed his eyes. Maya had just finished tying her hair back. "Should we go out there?" she asked calmly. "We should," Alan said. "I need to talk to them." When they stepped into the living room, the tension in the house was impossible to ignore. His mother stood with her arms crossed, and his father leaned against the counter with a stern face. Jacob was at the table eating cereal like nothing was wrong, but his eyes flicked up, watching everything. "Morning," Alan said, trying to start normally. "Morning," his mother replied, then forced a polite smile at Maya. "Morning." Maya nodded. "Morning." But the politeness did not last long. His mother turned to Alan. "We need to talk. Privately." Alan shook his head. "If it is about Maya, we talk together." His mother pressed her lips tightly. She did not want to have this conversation in front of Maya, but she also knew she could not avoid it. "Fine," she said. She took a slow breath. "Alan, we were surprised yesterday. Shocked, honestly. You never told us you were seeing someone, and then you show up married. That is a lot for us to process." Alan nodded. "I understand that. But Maya is my wife. I love her. We came because I want my family to know her." His father finally spoke. "Alan, we raised you with certain values. We imagined a certain kind of future for you. A future that looks like our family. A future that continues our traditions." Alan stared at him. "And Maya being black does not fit that future?" His mother inhaled sharply. "Alan, please, do not twist this." Maya raised a hand gently before Alan could respond. "It is all right. I can speak for myself." She looked at his parents with steady eyes. "I understand that my presence was unexpected, but I am not here to take your traditions away. I am here because I love your son. Nothing more complicated than that." His mother's expression tightened. "Maya, we do not dislike you. It is just that our families are different. Our backgrounds are different. Our world is different. Marriage is more than just two people. It is two families coming together." Jacob suddenly spoke up from the table. "I think what Mom is trying to say is that Alan marrying someone like you changes everything for us." The room fell silent. "Someone like me," Maya repeated. Jacob shrugged. "You know what I mean. Different upbringing, different community, different culture." Alan felt anger rising. "Jacob, stop." "No, let him speak," Maya said quietly. Jacob lifted his spoon. "Look, I am just being real. People in this town talk. They judge. It will be uncomfortable for all of us. And honestly, Maya, I doubt you really understand what it means to be part of this family. This land, this farm, our history." Maya looked at him for a long moment. "Actually, Jacob, I understand land and history more than you think." His father frowned. "What does that mean?" Maya did not answer the question. Instead, she smiled politely. "Thank you for breakfast. I will step outside for some fresh air." She walked out onto the porch. Alan glared at his family. "What is wrong with all of you?" His father looked away. "You brought a stranger into our home without warning. What did you expect?" "She is not a stranger. She is my wife." Alan followed Maya outside. She stood near the edge of the field, arms folded against the morning breeze. "I'm sorry," he said softly. They are wrong. I should have prepared them better. She shook her head. You do not need to fix anything. I knew there would be challenges, but I did not expect this much resistance. Alan touched her hand. We can leave if you want. Maya looked at the farmhouse, then at the land around it. Not yet. Something tells me we should stay. Alan exhaled slowly. Then we stay, together. They returned inside for the rest of the day, trying to keep things peaceful. But the family's mood never changed. The tension remained stuck in every look, every sentence, every silent moment. Later that afternoon, Maya decided to walk around the property. She had recognized something when she arrived, something she had not mentioned. She knew this land, not by memory, but by history. Something her grandparents once told her, something she needed to confirm. The truth was getting closer. And when it surfaced, everything would change. Scene 5. Old papers in the attic. The farmhouse attic was an old, dusty space with wooden beams and boxes stacked in uneven piles. The kind of place where families stored things they no longer used but never threw away. Maya had asked Jacob earlier if she could look around the property, maybe see the old barn and the attic. He did not care. He barely made eye contact when he told her to do whatever she wanted. Alan wanted to join her, but Maya insisted on going alone for a bit. She needed space to think. The attic was warm and smelled like old books and dry wood. Sunlight leaked through a small window, landing on a stack of metal trunks against the wall. Maya ran her hand across the top of one trunk, brushing away years of dust. She opened it carefully. Inside were old farm documents, yellowed letters, faded photographs, and land ownership maps stretching back more than 80 years. She sat down and began to look through them. Names, dates, survey lines, signatures. And then she found what she was searching for. An old land deed. A very old one. With a name she recognized. Carter. Not Alan's family name. Her family name. Her heartbeat slowed. She looked closer. Property originally purchased by Thomas Carter in 1928. Her great-grandfather. She felt her chest tighten. Her grandmother had once told her stories about land the family owned long ago. Land that was taken through pressure, paperwork manipulation, and racial intimidation. Land they were forced to leave behind. Maya always assumed those stories were like many others black families passed down. Stories of things stolen. Stories of history lost. But she had never imagined that the land her husband grew up on was the same land her ancestors once owned. Another document lay beneath the deed. A transfer paper, signed by someone who had worked closely with Alan's grandfather. The terms looked suspicious. The payment amount was strangely low. Too low. Maya closed her eyes. This land was taken. She breathed slowly, keeping her emotions steady. She was not angry, not yet. She was processing, understanding, connecting everything. She kept searching through the trunks. More maps, more legal papers, more silent evidence. Finally, she closed the lid and sat on the attic floor for a moment, letting the truth settle. The farmhouse did not belong to the Brooks family originally. It belonged to the Carter family. Her family. And fate had brought her back here. When she walked downstairs, Alan was waiting at the base of the steps. He had been worried. Where were you? I thought something was wrong. Maya looked at him carefully. I found something. Something important. What is it? Not yet, she said. I want to be sure before I say anything. Alan nodded slowly. He trusted her. But downstairs, the atmosphere was no better. His mother barely looked at Maya. His father seemed irritated by her silence. Jacob whispered something to his mother that made her frown. Dinner was uncomfortable again. Every conversation felt like a test. Every second felt heavy. Alan squeezed Maya's hand under the table, but she squeezed back lightly, reassuring him she was fine. After dinner, she stepped outside and stared at the field under the setting sun. The truth was heavy, but soon it would come out, and the family that judged her would discover that Maya was not only their daughter-in-law, she was the rightful owner of the very land beneath their feet. The confrontation in the barn. Late that night, the farmhouse was quiet. Too quiet. Alan had fallen asleep early, exhausted from the heavy tension of the day. But Maya could not sleep. Her mind kept returning to the old documents in the attic, the yellowed papers, the signatures, the lost history of her family. She stepped outside for fresh air. The cold night wind brushed against her face as she walked toward the barn. The barn was old, its wooden roof slightly curved, its large doors creaking softly in the darkness. Maya pushed the door open and stepped inside. Moonlight filtered through the gaps in the wooden walls. Dust floated in the air, catching the light. She walked slowly, looking around, feeling something deep in her chest. A whisper of memory, a sense of belonging she could not explain. Then she heard a sound behind her. A footstep. When she turned, Jacob stood in the doorway. His expression was cold. He crossed his arms. "So, you are still snooping around?" Maya kept her voice calm. "I am not snooping. I am trying to understand this place." Jacob took a step closer. "You should not be in here." "Why not?" Maya asked. "Because this is our space," Jacob replied. "Our land, our history." "Not yours!" "You do not belong here." Maya stared at him. Her heart did not race. She did not feel fear. The truth she now carried gave her a strange calm. Jacob stepped closer again. "I do not know what you are trying to prove, but it is not going to work. My family will never accept you. You are from a different world. A world we do not want mixed into ours." Maya lowered her eyes for a moment, then looked up steadily. "Jacob, your family is judging me without knowing anything about me. But you are wrong about one thing. I do belong here, much more than you think." Jacob snorted. "How could someone like you belong here?" Maya did not answer. "Not yet." Jacob moved closer and his voice grew sharper. "You think that because Alan loves you, everything will magically fit. But you are making things harder. You walked in here like you deserve a place at this table. But this is our home. Not yours. Your world has nothing to do with ours." Maya finally spoke clearly. "Jacob, your family lost the right to say that a long time ago." Jacob froze. "What do you mean, lost the right?" Maya walked past him and stepped back toward the door. "You will find out soon. I promise you that." Jacob called after her, annoyed and confused, but she no longer responded. She walked back toward the farmhouse with a steady pace, her heartbeat strong but controlled. She was done being polite. She was done being judged. Tomorrow she would tell Alan the truth. And the day after that, she would tell the entire Brooks family. The darkness of the farm felt different now. Not hostile, not frightening. It felt like a secret finally waking up. The next morning, the atmosphere in the farmhouse was even heavier. No one smiled. No one made friendly conversation. Everyone moved stiffly, avoiding eye contact. Maya and Alan sat together at the breakfast table. His mother stood by the stove, silently stirring eggs in a pan. His father drank coffee without looking up. Jacob scrolled through his phone with a bored expression. Alan leaned toward Maya. "Did something happen last night?" "My family seems worse than before." Maya nodded slightly. "We need to talk, but not here." Alan noticed her serious tone and immediately grew worried. His mother turned sharply when she heard the whispering. "Is everything all right?" Maya smiled politely. "Yes, everything is fine." But the smile did not fool anyone. A few minutes later, Alan and Maya stepped outside and walked toward the fields. When they reached a quiet spot near the oak tree, Maya stopped. "Alan, I found something. Something big." He looked at her closely. "What is it?" She took a slow breath. "Your family does not know me. They judge me because I am different. But the truth is, I have more connection to this place than any of them realize." Alan frowned. "Maya, what do you mean?" "I went to the attic yesterday. I found old land deeds, documents that show who owned this property before your family." Alan looked confused. "My grandfather bought this land decades ago." Maya shook her head. "He bought it. But not fairly. Not honestly. This land originally belonged to my ancestors, the Carter family." Alan froze. Maya continued. "My great-grandfather purchased this land in the 1920s. He lived here, worked here, raised his family here, until your grandfather and a business partner pressured him. The paperwork was manipulated. The land was taken. My family was forced to leave." Alan stared at her in disbelief. "Maya, are you sure?" "I read the documents myself. Your last name appears on the transfer papers. The payment amount was almost nothing. It was theft on paper." Alan sat down slowly on a fallen log, overwhelmed. He rubbed his forehead. "This cannot be real. My family would never hide something like that." Maya crouched beside him. "People hide the things they are ashamed of. That does not make you responsible. But you need to understand why your family feels so protective. They are protecting land that was never theirs." Alan exhaled deeply, struggling to process the truth. Maya took his hands gently. I did not come here to confront anyone. I came to meet your family. But after what I found, after how they treated me, I will not stay quiet. Alan looked into her eyes. I believe you, but my family will deny this. They will say you misunderstood the documents. Then they can read them themselves, Maya said calmly. Alan nodded slowly. Then we show them. They walked back to the farmhouse. Alan held the stack of old documents Maya had carefully collected from the attic earlier. Inside, the Brooks family looked up as the couple entered. The air thickened immediately. Alan cleared his throat. We need to talk. His mother narrowed her eyes. About what? Alan set the documents on the table. About the truth. Jacob rolled his eyes. What truth? Maya stepped forward. The truth about this farmhouse. The truth about who this land belonged to. The truth your family never expected to hear from me. His father frowned deeply. Maya, what are you talking about? Maya opened the first document. This land belonged to the Carter family. My family. The room went silent. Jacob's expression twisted in disbelief. No way, you are lying. His mother's face drained of color. His father took the paper with unsteady hands, his eyes scanning the names and signatures. When he reached the signature of Thomas Carter, his hands trembled. Alan spoke quietly. Dad, did you know about this? His father swallowed hard. He did not answer. He did not deny it. He simply stared at the deed, guilt creeping into his face like a shadow. Maya watched them all. For the first time since she arrived, she was no longer the outsider in the room. She was the truth they had been running from. And the truth was only beginning to unfold. The room remained silent. Not the peaceful kind, the heavy kind. The kind that pressed into every corner of the farmhouse. Alan's father finally set the old land deed on the table. His hands were shaking, but his jaw was tight. He stared at Maya with a look that was part disbelief, part fear, and part guilt. Where did you find this? He asked quietly. Maya looked directly at him. In the attic, buried under 2 metal trunks. His mother stood frozen near the sink, gripping the counter. Her knuckles turned white. Jacob looked from face to face, trying to understand why everyone seemed shaken. This does not mean anything, Jacob said quickly. Lots of people used to own this land. That does not make her part of it. Maya picked up another paper. This is the transfer contract, signed by your grandfather and witnessed by your great-uncle. The payment amount is here, $5. The land at that time was worth more than $3,000. Jacob's mouth opened slightly. He had no argument. Alan's mother whispered softly. I remember hearing something. A rumor. A story about land ownership back then. But your father always said it was exaggeration. She turned to her husband. You said the land was abandoned. You told me the family left voluntarily. His father did not answer. Alan took a deep breath. Dad, tell the truth. His father looked at the floor. When I was a child, I heard things. My father never told the full story. But I knew there was tension. I knew a black family lived here before us. I knew there were arguments, meetings, pressure. But I did not know the details. He lifted his eyes to Maya. I did not know it was your family. Maya nodded slowly. You did not push them out yourself, but your family benefited from it. Alan's mother swallowed hard. Her voice shook. Why did you come here, Maya? Was it to confront us? To take the land back? Maya shook her head. I did not know the truth until yesterday. I came here for one reason, to meet the family of the man I married. Nothing more. Her voice stayed calm, but the heartbreak behind it was visible. I wanted to be welcomed. I wanted to be respected. I wanted to be seen as part of this family. Instead, I was judged before I walked through the door. Jacob crossed his arms, defensive as always. You are acting like we are the villains. Alan stepped forward. Jacob, stop. She has been nothing but patient. We treated her like she was the problem. But the truth is, our family took something that belonged to hers. Maya placed the documents back on the table. I do not want revenge. I do not want money. I do not want the land back. I want honesty. I want accountability. I want respect. No one spoke. Jacob finally sat down, the seriousness settling in. His mother wiped her eyes with her sleeve. His father stared out the window, as if unable to face the past. Maya looked at all of them. It is time for the truth to be acknowledged, not hidden, not ignored. Accepted? Alan nodded. She is right. The silence that followed was different from before. Not cold, not hostile. It was the silence of people realizing the weight of history. The silence of people understanding they could not hide behind excuses anymore. The truth had broken the surface. Now they had to decide what to do with it. That evening, the entire family gathered in the living room. The house felt smaller now, as if the walls were listening. Alan sat beside Maya, holding her hand tightly. His parents sat across from them, looking unsettled, but calmer than before. Jacob paced back and forth like a caged animal. Alan's father finally spoke. "I need to say something." "Not as a defense, as a confession." Jacob frowned. "Dad, you do not have to do this." "Yes, I do," his father replied. He looked at Maya, and for the first time since she arrived, his voice softened. "My father told me once that he pressured the previous owners to sell. He said they needed the land. He said the Carters had debts. He said it was business. But I remember him saying the Carters did not want to leave. I remember him saying they were proud people. I remember him saying things I did not understand at the time." He exhaled slowly. "Now I see it clearly. We did not seize abandoned land. We pushed a family out. We took advantage of the laws. And the fact that they were black." Alan's mother closed her eyes. A tear rolled down her cheek. Maya listened quietly. His father continued. "I did not participate in it, but I benefited from it. Our entire family did. And that is wrong." Jacob finally stopped pacing. "So what do we do now? Give her the land? Move out?" Maya shook her head. "No. I already said I do not want the land back. My family has moved forward. We built our own life. I am here because I love Alan. Not because of property lines." Jacob still looked confused. "So then what do you want?" Maya looked at him with calm eyes. "I want acceptance. I want respect. I want you to judge me for my character, not my skin. I want this family to heal from its past instead of repeating its mistakes." His mother wiped her tears again. "I was wrong. I judged you before giving you a chance. I thought I was protecting my family. But I was only holding on to old fears that never belonged to us." She stepped closer. "Maya, can you forgive us?" Maya nodded gently. "Yes, if you can grow from this moment." Alan's father stood slowly. "Then let us grow. Let us start again. And let us do something my father never did. Let us honor the Carter family, not hide them." Jacob finally softened. "And for what it is worth, I am sorry too. I was rude. I was defensive. I did not know the truth. But that is no excuse for how I treated you." Maya looked at each of them. "This is all I wanted. A chance to be part of this family without judgment." Alan wrapped his arm around her. "You deserve that and more." The Brooks family had been shaken by truth. But instead of breaking, they began to rebuild. The past was heavy, but healing had begun. The next morning, the farmhouse felt warmer and lighter. Alan's mother invited Maya into the kitchen with a genuine smile. They cooked together, talked about life, and shared quiet laughter. Alan watched, relieved to see peace for the first time. After breakfast, the family walked across the fields. Alan's father carried the old Carter documents and gently buried them near the oak tree. "This land will remember them," he said. "From now on, Maya has a place here, not as a guest, but as family." Jacob offered to show her the barn, the trails, the fences. She smiled. Alan's mother asked to learn one of her recipes. Maya laughed. The family walked together under the morning sun. The past's heaviness lifted. Acceptance, respect, and unity filled the air. Alan whispered to Maya, "I told you we'd be okay." She smiled, feeling belonging where her ancestors once stood. Two families, two histories, finally coming together through love.